So let's look at the first one. We're diving into the first behavior which determines a healthy team. Now, trust has to be seen in the context of the following situations and following context. Weaknesses and mistakes, help, appreciation in the team, apologies are to be extended, questions and inputs and ideas. So the teams which trust each other, members trust each other, and there is adequate amount of trust, tend to behave like this. So if there is a weakness and mistake, they admit. They don't feel shy of admitting a weakness or a mistake because they know that it will not be judged. We will not be judged. So they feel vulnerable, and yet that vulnerability builds trust. When it comes to help, teams with trust ask for help and offer help. Now remember, a lot of times we don't ask for help because we think it is a sign of weakness. We don't want to show that vulnerability. But in teams which trust each other, asking for help is not seen as a sign of weakness. It is seen as a sign of having a trust in somebody else who will not judge me, who will rather help me. Similarly, they offer help. When it comes to appreciation, teams with trust also compliment and appreciate the skills and competencies of others. They don't hold back. They don't stay in a competitive frame of mind that if I appreciate the skill and competency of my team member, my peer, or my team member below me, then he or she may become bigger than me. You know, that's the notion we have, and therefore we hold back. No, they go ahead and appreciate. Apologies are offered and accepted. Nobody keeps a grouse, let me put it that way. If there is an apology, it is seen as genuine. Nobody thinks of it as being superficial. And similarly, when apologies are extended, they are accepted and gone over, and there is no residue left. Questions are accepted and asked without fear, right? Now, I'm sure you can connect back to your situation back at workplace, where sometimes you may be afraid of asking a question to your team member, to your colleague, to your peer, thinking what he might think of me, or how will boss see this, right? And have not asked that question. But when you have gone out of the meeting, that question still stays with you. You don't still have the answer, and that starts to impact your contribution, your value addition to the process, to the initiative which was discussed in the room. So when teams are trusting, they both accept and ask questions without fear. And lastly, when it comes to inputs and ideas, people extend inputs and ideas to others in their domain also. So I may be sales guy and I have a team member who's in marketing. I will not be afraid. I would rather give him an input on an idea. And I will not fear judgment. I will not fear whether this fellow will block it, saying that you are from sales, you have no business to give me any idea or input around marketing. Those are accepted readily. They are given and they are accepted. So these are the behaviors that you need to watch out for as leaders when it comes to assessing trust in your team, right? So as a quick question to all of you, if you can go and put in the chat box, how many team members do you have in your teams? Can you put the numbers in the chat box quickly? It will help me give you some more examples later. Yeah. 3, 6, 8, 9, yeah. 2, 7, 10, 15, wow, yeah. Go ahead. 500, Yashwant, wonderful. 5, 7, okay, great. So all of you have teams, and I don't know, I hope you are not facing these challenges, but if you are, remember, trust is the foundation. And if the foundation is not proper, then you will have challenge in getting the results which come at the top. So when things go wrong, which means if you're not getting the results, you need to go back to trust. And what do you do there? Now, what do you do there? First of all, you will notice that your people are guarded. They are not opening up. They're not speaking up. They're not giving help to each other. They're not offering help to each other. That should get alarm bell ringing in your head and heart that this team does not have adequate amount of trust among themselves. And it is also a reflection of the trust they may have in you as a leader, right? So what is the role of the leader then? And leader has to go first, be vulnerable. Leaders should be able to say to their team members, I am sorry, I made a wrong judgment. I am sorry, I made a wrong decision. I do not know, can you help me? I have made a mistake. in assessing your potential. Please help me frame an answer or solution to this problem. Leader has to go first and demonstrate vulnerabilities. Vulnerability is a great trust builder. Have you noticed that when you are walking on a road and you are in a new city, walking on a road and trying to find a sort of a address, and there is a passerby who's walking, you go up to them and say, where would I find this? What does that fellow do? That fellow helps you. You at that moment are not afraid of asking for help because you are already lost. And when you share your vulnerability with a stranger, not even a team member, a stranger, that I don't know where I am and I'm looking for this address, they help you. That's what vulnerability does. It starts to build trust in people. And people do not take advantage of vulnerability. They offer help. They start to respond more positively to your behaviors. So that's the first role of the leader in building the trust. So how vulnerable you are, how much you are yourself demonstrating all those behaviors. Are you apologizing to your team for something that you have done incorrectly or assessed incorrectly or said incorrectly? We are not God. Leaders are not God. Leaders are also human, right? So therefore, it is important that we go first. So don't wait for your team members to say or do something. You go first. And slowly and steadily, you will find team members start talking the same language, demonstrating the similar behaviors among themselves also. They will not be even afraid to come and talk to you and say, you gave me this job. I don't think I can do it without your help. Can you help me? Otherwise, what might happen? You give the job to them. They don't say that to you, that I can't do this job. They go out, they delay it, they do it without any quality or whatever, right? And you have to then remind them, and then you get angry and raise your voice on them to say, why have you not done? Why didn't you tell me that you could not do it, right? In the first place. Now, rather than saying that, analyze what stopped him or her from telling you the same thing when you first gave the job to them. Does it make sense to you? So go first, demonstrate. Give confidence to your team that saying no, having a point of view, sharing your vulnerability is not wrong. We are all humans. It can happen with us. So go first. And I'm spending some time here because foundation, as you saw in the triangle, the foundation of building a healthy team is trust. Take away trust, you can't do anything. Even if you have the other 4 behaviors, they will not fall in place. Trust fuels those behaviors, and you will see the connect as we go along. Okay, so what are the key points? So trust is at the heart of it, right? And it comes from the vulnerability of the team members when they openly share their weaknesses, their deficiencies, their interpersonal shortcomings, their mistakes, their request for help and the like. We talked about it. It takes time. It's not a one-day affair. I call it an emotional bank account. You know, हर रोज कुछ ना कुछ deposit करना पड़ता है उसमें. Every day you have to deposit something, right? So it takes time. It's work in progress. And lastly, the leader must be the first to demonstrate vulnerability. Because if leader continues to show up at workplace and says, I'm the all-powerful, I can't make mistakes, there is no place for apology, there is no place for doing things wrong, you will find the teams are under stress. They don't stay healthy anymore. And it starts to impact their performance at workplace.